I sold a priceless emerald ring to a pawn shop after my gambling ex-husband left us penniless. Since I left my husband and lost my job, I have struggled to make ends meet. So when I saw an opportunity to make more money for my children, I jumped. Over the years, I rejected acts of charity from friends and family, too proud to take their money or admit that I was in serious trouble. But when we were evicted from our family home, I thought enough is enough. My ex-husband had a serious gambling problem while I kept changing jobs, perpetually unhappy with every role I had, so money became inconsistent and, if left alone with my ex, a work of fiction. My mom had the most beautiful emerald ring. It was gifted to her by my great-grandmother who came across to the States during World War II, and therefore it was my mother's prized possession. So when she gave it to me as a gesture of goodwill, I was struck by the sentiment, but also the value. I would never have considered it an asset before, but we are so desperate for food and a stable place to live. Before we walked out, my ex-husband totaled up more debt than I thought possible and refused to pay a penny. There is a local pawn shop down our street, and I knew they would take this ring. I planned to sell them on the ring, get the money and then claim that it has been lost to our insurers and use that money to buy it back. I would have enough money to secure a flat and my family wouldn't lose their war-torn treasure. I told my ex-husband, and although he said it was a stupid idea, he was friends with a friend of the pawn shop owner and therefore, agreed to make sure that the ring would not be sold onto a third party. I dropped off the ring, with a strict instruction that my friend ex-husband would stop by at the end of the week to buy it. With a joyous $6,000 in my hand, I put down money on a rental deposit, purchased enough food for the month and applied for a new job. It was the most peaceful I had felt in a while, but this was short-lived. 4 days go by, and I call my ex asking him if he had the ring. He told me that someone had come in and purchased the ring. I shouted, "How did you let that happen? You had one job. What am I going to do?" He apologized and said, "The guy in the shop was new. I don't think anyone passed on the message." He was the only one on site when I arrived. Panicked, I confronted the staff at the pawn shop, confused, and they asked me why I wanted the ring back, and I told them the story of my heroic great-grandmother fighting her way through war-torn Europe to find freedom in America. At least when I called the insurance company, I could honestly tell them that I didn't have the ring, but I had no idea what I was meant to say to my mother when she saw me without it, so I said that it was being polished. I felt terrible for lying to her, but I needed more time before telling her the truth. My ex-husband repeated how he felt about my contacting the insurance company, which I thought was weird because he wouldn't let it go. When I said that I held him partly responsible for my financial desperation, he became angry and said that I wasn't being fair. It must have upset him because 2 days ago, the police arrived at my door and arrested me on suspicion of fraud and the selling of stolen goods. My ex-husband had not only bought the ring, given it to his new girlfriend and lied to me about it, but he also reported me to the police and told them my plan about claiming the insurance money so I could buy the ring back from the pawn shop. Apparently, he is still set on getting revenge after I filed for divorce because of his gambling problems. I am currently on bail pending further investigation into the allegations made against me by my ex, but at least my children will be moving to a better part of town.